Hey. Hello and welcome to Emotional Health Coaching with Deaver. Today I'd like to talk to you about agreements. Agreements are those verbal commitments in which we make a promise to another party. Many of us are very attached to our commitments. They represent our integrity, how valuable our word is, and so we tend to put a lot of importance on honoring our agreements and sticking through all of the terms of that commitment. Well, that can cause a lot of unhappiness, especially when the circumstances change. So here are some questions that I like to look at today. Is it okay to renegotiate an agreement? When is it okay to renegotiate an agreement? Are you still a trustworthy person if you ask someone to consider looking at an agreement and changing some of the terms and conditions of it? My answer is yes. So I like to invite you to consider saying yes and giving yourself permission to ask for what you want in an agreement that no longer works for you. So let's say that you've made a long-term promise, like showing up somewhere for the duration of a whole year. And it takes you 5 minutes to get there and you can go every Friday night. But it's February and things are changing for you. Maybe there's a health issue, maybe you've moved and you live a lot further away. Is it okay for you to go back to the original party to which you made your promise and share these circumstances and these changes that have happened and to request an alteration in your agreement? The challenge with continuing to honor an agreement that causes us pain, that no longer works for us, is that we become resentful. We no longer have our heart and intention aligning up with this promise that we made a while back. Our circumstances have changed, and that can change our availability for our promise. Surprisingly, one of the things that allows us to be comfortable asking to have an agreement changed is our receptivity to someone who is coming to us to change their promise to us. So my encouragement is to consider offering grace, understanding, and empathy when someone comes to you and says, hey, I know I promised this, but things are changing for me and this no longer works for me. Would you be willing to make some changes to our agreement? So it's kind of a rule of life. Hey, you're allowed to say this no longer works for me. You're allowed to come to me and tell me what's going on in your life, and we will find a way that works better for both of us. Because then the commitment is not to the promise or to the agreement, but to the well-being of both parties involved in it. When our relationships are based on that kind of openness and fluidity, we move away from that tight knit of codependency and we move into the nurturing aspects of freedom and trust. I hope you found this video helpful and that it will encourage you to create more freedom and more permission in your relationships. If you like more content like this, please subscribe to my channel and I won't hold you up to your agreement. You can change your mind.